Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Township of North Frontenac Public Council meeting, when we're going to accept comments for amendments to our fees and charges bylaw. Just need to read this one document, which I put where here. Please be advised, North Frontenac Council meetings are recorded. By attending a public meeting of council, you are consenting to your image, voice, and comments being recorded. Members of council, staff, delegates, and attendees are advised that they may be subject to legal action if their actions result in inappropriate and or unacceptable behavior or comments. We begin this gathering by acknowledging and celebrating these traditional lands as a gathering place of the first peoples and their ancestors who are entrusted to care for Mother Earth since time immemorial. We do so respecting both the land and the indigenous people who continue to walk with us through this world. Today, the Township of North Frontenac is committed to working with indigenous peoples and all residents to pursue a united path of reconciliation. Item 3, approval of the agenda.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Hudel, seconded by Councillor Inglis. Be it resolved that Council approves the agenda for the public meeting regarding amendments to the fees and charges bylaw dated January 16th, 2026 as circulated.
Any comments? In favor? Agenda is approved. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof? Seeing none. Item 5, we have manager community development fee for rank advertising and sponsorship.
Moved by Councillor Inglis, seconded by Deputy Mayor Hudel. Be it resolved that Council receives for information a summary of the proposed amendments to the fees and charges bylaw to add a fee for rink boards advertising sponsorship, and that Council will consider comments received by the public at today's meeting and the bylaw later in the regular meeting.
Comments? In favor? Carried. That opens up the forum for item 6, public comments. Does anyone in the public, either in the council chamber or online, wish to make a comment? And we'll start with in the council chamber first.
So, and if there's anyone online that wishes to comment, please use the raise hand feature.
Seeing none in the council chamber, we'll move to the online portion.
Seeing none.
Thank you. No public comments have been received. That will take us to item 7, adjournment.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Hudel, seconded by Councillor Inglis. Be it resolved that Council adjourns the public meeting at 9:04 a.m.
In favor? Carried. That meeting is ended. So the next meeting we move to is a regular council meeting and our call to order. And I'm going to read the concern again, the advisement. Please be advised, North Frontenac council meetings are recorded. By attending a public meeting of council, you are consenting to your image, voice, and comments being recorded. Members of council, staff, delegates, and attendees are advised that they may be subject to legal action if their actions result in inappropriate and or unacceptable behavior or comments. Okay, so go away here. Approval of the agenda.
Moved by Councillor Hermer, seconded by Councillor Fowler. Be it resolved that Council approves the agenda dated January 16th, 2026 as circulated.
Comments? In favor? We have an agenda. Thank you. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof? Seeing none. Business profile for Lions Heating and Cooling.
Moved by Councillor Fowler, seconded by Councillor Hermer. Be it resolved that Council receives for information the business profile of Lions Heating and Cooling provided by the Economic Development Task Force.
Any comments? In favor? Carried. We have no presentations. We have delegations. We have Miss Sarah McCullough from Youth Program Supervisor, Rural Frontenac Community Services. Sarah, come up to the table, turn on the microphone, and we'll give you some time.
Oh, I don't think you want it too close. I'm pretty loud. Good morning, everybody. I'm so happy to be back here to talk about the youth program and everything we've done and are doing. I'm Sarah. I'm the youth program supervisor, in case you don't remember me. And back here we have Louise, who is our executive director. So she's come up with me, make sure I don't say anything too crazy. And this does work to turn it, right? Ah, there we go. So who are we? We like to give just a summary of who we are and what we do. And I know you all have seen this. So the youth program, we run various programs for youth ages 6 to 18 with some select programs that go down to age 4, such as our junior camper program. And we do have our programs, our high school programs open to youth with special needs up to the age of 21, because at the age of 21, you can still be in high school. So we like to be inclusive in our programs. We focus on engaging youth in their community where they are. We believe that it's very important that we move to where the youth are, not try and get the youth to come to exactly where we are, especially being in such a rural community where transportation is a challenge. The connections that we build with our youth by being where they are helps engage them in their own community, helps them build understanding of what happens in their community and how to stay involved and to foster this want and need to stay in their community as they continue to grow. We know that our population is of an older generation. We don't retain as many youth, and we want to build those effective community linkages when they're young so they stay connected to their community and build resilience. We also hire local youth to work in our programs. So there is a list here of some of the programs that we offer. Today we're focusing on mostly our Kids Club program, which is what North Frontenac Township funds for our Kids Club site at Clarendon Central Public School, which is one of our favorite sites, of course. Really? It really is. We're not joking. We love coming up to Clarendon. So an overview of Kids Club. Kids Club runs one night a week for 2 hours at the Child Center in Tribal Lake, Clarendon Central Public School, Land O'Lakes Public School, and Granite Ridge Education Center. And then Thursdays, because Thursdays isn't listed there. We're going to get to that later, guys, but that's our high school or hub days. Our staff come prepared with games, crafts, and sometimes we have healthy emotions or self-care activities for youth to participate in. We really encourage youth to be leaders in the program. So as they learn the games, as they become older in our programs, they get to be the ones who lead the games. They get to cook with us every week. So 2 kids each week do cooking with us in the kitchen. They make snack. They get to learn different things and develop skills. So this month is Around the World Month. So this week was Hawaii. We learned about what different animals are in Hawaii. We had a snack featured around Hawaii. And we also had the library with us this week, which was super fun. I'm sure Deputy Clerk Ms. Dressler heard about that. And it's just a great time. So for your information, North Frontenac provides $6,000 for the funding of Kids Club in North Frontenac. So last year, we offered it weekly at Clarendon. We had 12 youth attending in the 2024-2025 school year, and we currently have 14 youth attending. So we max at 15. We did actually have 16, but 2 youth have moved schools since Christmas. So we're down to 14 now, but we're open to having another kid come. So we typically max at 15, but we'll go up to 16 for siblings. And Kids Club's been running at Clarendon since 2010, and like I said, it's one of our favorite sites. The staff are so welcoming, the kids are so appreciative of what we do up there, and they're always eager to participate and have fun with us, and we really love it. As I mentioned, we hire local youth to work in our program. So in this picture, this is Florence. She was a co-op student with us last year. And the snack, as you can see, it was Fear Factor month. So we made gummy worms out of Jell-O. The kids were very much grossed out by them. It was fabulous. So we hire local youth. So Florence was on a co-op with us, but she also got paid to work at Kids Club. So she got 4 hours a week paid to work at Kids Club, and then she was with me during the day doing other activities. We currently have Maya Crawford, who's another teen in the area, who is working with us, and she's on co-op with us until the end of this month, and we're lining up our next co-op student. We also do leadership programs in forms of babysitters course, and last year we had 19 youth complete the babysitters course, which is awesome. We hear from our babysitter course instructor that we are the highest in providing the course. Like, they don't offer it as much in Kingston or anywhere. We seem to certify the most youth in this course, which is amazing. And I think that kind of attributes with being in a rural community that we, our youth are moving into that after school kind of job babysitting roles faster than kids might be in the cities and urban areas. We also offered the Home Alone course with 22 youth completing the course this year. Last year, 2025. So the Home Alone course is for ages 10 and up to learn about safety and practices for staying home alone. And yeah, it's just a great time. I also wanted to mention we participated in the Unnamed Youth Project last year. So it's a new initiative by Community Foundations, KFL&A, where they're really focusing on youth-led initiatives and what youth want to see and giving youth the platform to express what they see as needs in their community. So we took, between myself and Granite Ridge and Maltby, we took 15 youth to the Unnamed Youth Project Summit in Kingston, where they got to discuss different youth initiatives and problems that they saw and speak about that. We have one youth from Plevna who's very involved in our community, one high schooler, I should say. We have many youth from Plevna, but we have one high schooler from, well, she's Alba, Lindsay Sura is one of our amazing youth. She actually spoke at our AGM, or well, our 50th AGM in the fall. So she did a speech on what the youth program has meant to her and all the things that she sees as needs for youth in her community. And that was great to give her that opportunity. And she also participated in the Unnamed Youth Project, and she spoke on behalf of students of Central and North Frontenac who were attending there to talk about it as well. So it's just been lovely to get to see Lindsay grow throughout the program and all of her participation. Our summer programming. So we don't just run during the school year, we run all year round, and we do so many fun things. We run a summer day camp for ages 6 to 12. We take a max of 20 kids every day. It's 3 days a week. And we also offered bi-weekly junior camper days for ages 4 to 6. So we know that there is a gap for that age group of 4 to 6, where our program mostly starts at age 6, because we have early on in daycare that are kind of filling those areas, but there are those kids who've started school who don't necessarily feel like they fit into an early on group anymore. So we've come up with junior camper days to kind of help bridge that gap and get kids ready to attend bigger camp with more kids. So junior camp is a smaller group. We only take 12 in that group. And it's been really well received. The kids seem to really love it. And we also did junior hub days over the summer for grades 6 to 8. Again, bridging that gap between our age groups to try and make sure our youth at every age and stage are getting programs that they need. And I just have to point out, we gave kids t-shirts this year at camp as part of, I think it was Spirit Week. They all got shirts and they were assigned to a color house. And our dear friend in this picture was given a green t-shirt, and they were allowed to paint whatever they wanted on their shirt. And he decided that he was going to be a junior staff. So this individual has been attending our program since he was 6. And I think he's 10 now. 10, 8, 9, 9, close. Thank you. And so he's been attending our program since he was 6. He has told us repeatedly that he looks forward to when he's older and he can work for us in our programs. We just adore him. We adore our kids up here. I thought it was just great. Whatever you want to put, and he decided he was gonna be a staff. And he even painted our emblem on the front of it. It was fabulous. So our youth hub, because I know we talk a lot about Kids Club in that age group, and our 6 to 12 is kind of our main group, but we also provide stuff for our high schoolers. So we have the youth hub, which is located in Sherbet Lake, across from the bank and the store. So it's easy for high schoolers. At the end of the day, they can walk up and they can come. We make food. We have space that they can craft. We bring different social emotional activities for them to complete. And we also have that space that they can connect with, like myself, to get access to different services, or I can work with them one-on-one if that needs to be a gap service for them. We also started running in October our junior hub, which we'd only been running during the summer. We have now established it as a biweekly as well. So 1 week we have our high schoolers, and the next week we have our junior hubs, which is grade 6 to 8. And that has been really well received as well. We've got youth coming from Ampa, Mountain Grove, and Sherbet Lake and area, all coming down to our hub to participate in this program, which is amazing, both in junior and in senior hub. So that's super. Special events. We love coming up here. We really do. I can't say that enough. It's so fun. We attend your Winterfest, your Summerfest, and we're set to come again this year. We also did our Rudolph Reindeer Games on December 22nd at Fair Mill Hall, and we had 14 youth registered, but due to sickness and other commitments, we only had 12 come, but it was still so amazing. And I have to do a shout out to the Tinker Sisters Workshop. They sponsored the event, making it free for our youth to participate in, which was so awesome. Follow them on Facebook. They're amazing. Again, that's Lindsay and Claire Sura. They're amazing. It was just so awesome to see, because like Lindsay and Claire are youth who participated in our program since they've moved to the area, and it's that they were able to give back to our program and sponsor this for our youth was just fabulous. So again, we are so thankful for the funding that you provide for our program. It means so much to the youth up here and to us that we get to come here and do this stuff for our youth. Our staff really take joy in getting to teach the kids new skills, teaching them how to cook different snacks, sending the recipes home when they really like it, and just watching them grow over the years. It means so much to us. Here I have our budget for you so that you can see where the money is being spent. You'll notice that there is a $4,616 difference between what we are funded and what the program costs us to run. That difference is funded by fundraising and donations that we receive. So the youth program is a unique program in that we don't have like any one long-term funding piece. We are only funded at this time by North Frontenac Township for our Kids Club program here, and Central Frontenac Township for our 3 programs in Central Frontenac. And then we are a United Way anchor agency. This is the last year of our funding with United Way, so we will be reapplying in the fall for that. We were funded for 3 years with the VGRY, Virgin Gap for Rural Youth program. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we get it again, because it's our main funding source for our program. But we really work hard to find different grants and applications that we can apply to help fund the different programs and activities that we offer in our communities. And that's it. Questions, comments, concerns, queries, conundrums?
Also, Councilor Palmer. I'd just like to make a comment about the co-op program and how important and beneficial that can be for a young person. Several years ago, my daughter participated in that, and as a result of that, she now has a very successful career with RBC in Windsor.
That's amazing. Yeah, we found, just so I can go off that comment, we find it's difficult to get high schoolers from this area, from North Frontenac, up here in time for programming because of the bus travel distance, and we leave Sherbet Lake at 2 o'clock to get up here, so they'd be missing most of their last period class. So we found with the co-op, it's a really good opportunity that we can work with the school to get high schoolers, and the high schoolers get to kind of see where they want, and if they're interested in this area of work, they get to come with us. So this will be, we've had, I think we're on our 3rd or 4th co-op student, so 1 each semester.
Yeah, you know who?
I just want to say thank you for all the work you do. It's great. And every year, your energy and your presentations is fantastic. I really enjoy it. Thank you.
So I have a couple comments. So first of all, thanks to both of you for coming. I, for one, really appreciate what your group does for our communities. And I want you to keep doing it, please. Thank you. And appreciate you coming here today, especially, and it's nice, but it wasn't so nice this time yesterday. I'm going to ask you though, so we do our budgets in November and the beginning of December. It used to be we're doing it now, but we do it earlier. So you came today and you said, I'm looking for $6,000. So it's probably already in our budget. I know it is. But if you want it more, that becomes an issue. Let's say you wanted 7,000. So if there's a way that you can give us your ask at the beginning of November for the following year, that gives council a chance to say yes. And then you can come and do everything you're doing now, because we need to hear this. And thank you so much. And Lindsay Sura was absolutely amazing at that. I attended that session and she was great. It was really nice to see a young person speak and do so quite eloquently. So thank you.
With the food for offering the funding, we have done amazingly well. We have local funders, I think, for getting people recognizing one couple donated $70 and we focus when we do it. So there's still a gap. It's still not that we won't come enough anymore, but it's really beautiful. The new stuff we do for daycare and everybody learning has meant that our daycare doesn't use our donations to be viable. So for the first time ever, we have funds available for other groups. We have it very, very well, and I don't think we need to throw money this year, but thank you for reminding us to be.
Well, it's a change from previous years. Okay, so we just started doing the budget before the end of the year, best we can, 2 years ago. Next year would be an election years, earlier this year, so it's a little different, but you can come to us beginning of November, that'll be wonderful. Okay?
Yes, for
And that
sure.
can just be an email to us. Or to Kelly. Or to- Thank you. So let's say you ask for 6,000 now, or we put 6,000 in, and you come back and you want 7. Now we're looking at another $1,000 in the budget year. And, you know, it's not that big of dollars, but we don't have a lot of money. So all of a sudden, these little things add up. You never know what council's going to say.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you so much for coming and for the work that you do. We really appreciate having you.
I just wanted to mention before I leave, we have a family directory that we brought up for each of the counselors to have. So it's something that our early on team worked on, and it has a bunch of information for programs in Central and North Frontenac for youth. And we also brought up our seniors directory for you as well, so that you guys can have a look at those things.
They're doing to whether or not those videos, we just need to them up. Those are available electronically and we can fit more and keep on.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, could we have some of those to put out at our information station at the front there? That'd be really handy to have for people when they come in.
We couldn't find them this morning.
We might get those friends to bring up, we take them to all of the community cafes and you might find them there already in the library, they're at the community college.
I know they're in Snow Road, so.
I've seen the large copy at Snow Road in the community center.
Well, we like to update it because once the information is loaded, now, and if you see a problem in you, that's something we should do, let us know because we're going to go electronic and these days we print going back to
But we're here every Tuesday, so we can bring more up, and early on's up here on Wednesdays. So yes, we will make sure we get more up here. Thank you so much, everyone.
Just want to leave those with Brooke.
Moved by Councillor Farmer, seconded by Councillor Fowler. Be it resolved that council receives for information the presentation from Sarah McCullough, Youth Program Supervisor with Rural Frontenac Community Services, entitled Rural Frontenac Community Services Youth Program, Enabling Youth to Live Rural Life to its Fullest, and thanks her for her time spent today.
In favor? Carried. Item 7, adoption of minutes.
Moved by Counselor Fowler, seconded by Counselor Hermer. Be it resolved that council adopts the minutes as circulated of a special meeting of council held December 4th, 2025, a public meeting of council held December 12th, 2025, and a regular meeting of council held December 12th, 2025.
Comment? In favor? Carried. We have no business arising, so now we're on to section 9, communications. Clerk's administrative report, communications A section.
Moved by Counselor Hermer, seconded by Counselor Fowler. Be it resolved that council receives for information section A items of the clerk's administrative report entitled Communications of Interest.
In favor? With the public and anyone else tuning in, this section, councils receive a number of letters from different jurisdictions across the province, other municipalities, government agencies, and so on. And they're mostly for information, and we all get them. You're supposed to read them, and we will pull out anything that we want. And that will end up in the next section, communications B, and we can discuss it. So that's just for your own information. So item 9B is communications B section, action items.
Moved by Counselor Fowler, seconded by Counselor Hermer. Be it resolved that council receives for information a resolution approved by South Frontenac Council at their meeting held December 9th, 2025, directing South Frontenac staff to submit a formal letter of objection to the Premier of Ontario and the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, expressing their concern with the strong mayor model, the proposed consolidation of conservation authorities, and the municipal planning implications of Bill 60, the Fighting Delays Building Faster Act, as all represent a systematic erosion of municipal democratic agency and local environmental oversight, and that North Frontenac Council supports the objections presented by the Council of South Frontenac and directs North Frontenac staff to provide this resolution of support to the Premier of Ontario, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, and the Township of South Frontenac.
Comments? Mr. Herman,
Well written.
anyone else? Councillor Fowler,
It just seems to be a lot of the established groups that we have are being eroded by all this town road and making everything smaller.
okay, and anyone else? Councillor Inglis,
These are all items I think we pretty much all agree should be supported, but the reality is, of course, we're fighting with our boss, the province. And in reality, this is probably gonna have no effect. Point data, we've seen this before, many instances. It's still worth doing, I think, but it just points out how helpless we are, the structure of this.
my turn. I read this a couple times, and on the surface, it seems okay. But as you pointed out, you're a creature of the province of Ontario. And Frontenac County and the townships were created back in 1998 by the province of Ontario. We exist because of funding in the province of Ontario. These items like this downloading and this, download's not the word I want, amalgamation of services and so on with the various conservation authorities and so on, health units, has been going on for years. Like, it's going on forever, essentially. So, and this won't have no effect in my opinion, so I'm going like, do you really want to approve this? You kind of, this is your boss. Is that what we want to do? Anyway, Councillor Fowler?
I think we have to at least make a little bit of noise about it. We're not happy about it, so I think it's good that we keep voicing our opinion public.
Marilyn?
Well, I think we have the right to criticize our boss if we feel that it's improper.
You do? No, Wayne?
Yeah, I know it's not gonna do us any good that,
I doubt if he even looks at it. Not my opinion on that, so. We make the noise and see what happens.
Okay. Anybody else? In favor of the resolution? Opposed? That's carried. Item 10A, share road allowance and bylaw, strong.
Moved by Counselor Farmer, seconded by Counselor Fowler. Be it resolved that council receives for information the clerk planning manager's administrative report entitled Shore Road Allowance Closure and Sale Bylaw, strong, and that as required by bylaw 2025-04, all that part of the shore road allowance lying in front of lot 286, registered plan 1044, geographic township of Barrie, being part 1 on registered plan 13R 12429, Kashwakmak Lake, be declared as surplus and sold to the adjoining owners. Appraisals of the properties are not necessary as these are shore road allowances, and that council will consider a bylaw later in the meeting to stop up, close, and sell the portion of the shore road allowance.
Comments? In favor? Carried. Item 10B, rental agreement with the First Resource Management Group, Masnell Leonard Forest Incorporated.
Moved by Counselor Fowler, seconded by Counselor Farmer. Be it resolved that council receives for information the Manager of Community Development's administrative report entitled Rental Agreement with First Resource Management Group Incorporated for rental of office space at the Barrie Community Hall, and that council will consider bylaw later in the meeting to authorize the mayor and clerk to sign the agreement with the First Resource Management Group.
Comments? In favor? Carried. Item C, draft rink board advertising policy.
Moved by Counselor Farmer, seconded by Counselor Fowler. Be it resolved that council receives for information the Manager of Community Development's administrative report entitled Draft Rink Board Advertising Policy, and that council approves the rink board advertising policy, and that council will consider a bylaw later in the meeting to adopt the policy, and that funds from this initiative will be placed in the Recreation Sustainability TCA Reserve Fund for future initiatives.
Comments? Sorry, Deputy Mayor?
Just wondering, do we have any idea how successful, like, how contractors come to you and say, we would do this?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, we've certainly had some interest generated. We really didn't know till they put the program out.
Anyone else? In favor? Carried. So D item, 2026-29 helipad agreement with Orange for Plevna and Ampa helipads.
Moved by Counselor Farmer, seconded by Counselor Fowler. Be it resolved that council receives for information the Manager of Community Development's administrative report entitled 2026 to 2029 helipad agreement with Orange for Plevna and Ampa helipad, and that council authorizes the Manager of Community Development to sign the 2026 to 2029 helipad agreements with Orange for Plevna and Ampa helipads.
Comments? Counselor Fowler?
Yes, are we the ones that maintain the helipad, or is it somebody else?
Rick?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, that's correct. The township does maintain them.
They give us $5,000 to do that.
Yeah, for each helipad.
For each?
Yeah, 5,000 each.
Anyone else? In favor of the resolution? Carried. Item E, Community Development Improvement Plan, 2025 Annual Report.
Moved by Counselor Fowler, seconded by Counselor Farmer. Be it resolved the council receives for information the Manager of Community Development's administrative report entitled Community Improvement Plan 2025 Annual Report.
Comments? Councilor Inglis?
Thank you for this, Brooke. This is clarifying. I see that one project is still in the way. Is there any problem with that project? Are there any rules about carryover into the next year or not?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So they requested an extension. So between myself and the CAO,
look at the reasons for extension. This was the fact that winter came and they just didn't quite get finished up, so they were finishing this Friday.
And we are asking for a different selection process in the future, which will probably come into play. Do you expect that we will divide the money quite differently, like with more recipients, fewer dollars each? Do you have any guess as to what will happen?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, it's still being worked out. This will come to the Economic Development Task Force meeting in January, so I think there'll be more discussions there on what they might like to see, and then of course it will be council's decision in the end.
Thank you.
Anyone else? In favor? Carried. Item F, 2026 insurance renewal.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Hudel, seconded by Councillor Inglis. Be it resolved, the council receives for information the treasurer's administrative report entitled 2026 Insurance Renewal, and the council instructs the treasurer to provide council with an update on a potential joint request for proposal prior to the 2027 insurance renewal.
Comments? In favor of the resolution? Carried. Item 10G, final tax rate bylaw and regulation 284/09.
Moved by Councillor Inglis, seconded by Deputy Mayor Hudel. Be it resolved, the council receives for information the treasurer's administrative report entitled Final Tax Rate Bylaw and Regulation 284/09. And that in accordance with Regulation 284/09, council recognizes and adopts expenses excluded from the 2026 approved budget, such as amortization and post-retirement benefits identified in this report, and that council approves increasing the minimum notice amount from $10 to $20 for arrears notices on unpaid taxes, and that the final 2026 final tax rate bylaw for the Township of North Frontenac be considered later in the meeting.
Comments? Deputy Mayor Hulu.
Kelly, just, reading the report and then the budget, it always amazes me how much we pay in postage every year. It's a big item, right? And I know other townships have gone completely electronic. They don't mail anything out anymore. Have we ever thought about that here, and have we looked at it?
So we do offer that people can receive their bill by electronic email, so they do go out. We have, I think we're about 400 bills now that go out. So every year we get a few more people that offer it. Generally, our council we still like to have paper available. And I've just found that in other platforms and different things we've offered electronically, that we still like to be able to offer the paper option. But it certainly is up to council, but I know there are some municipalities have just done a hard stop and it's electronic or not at all.
It's just, it's just not municipalities. There's businesses also, right?
Sure.
I mean, they don't send out paper. I think, I can't remember when I looked at the budget, but it's tens of thousands of dollars a year in postage, correct?
Our postage is about 18,000 a year.
Yeah.
Now that does include sort of like registered mail and planning if they have stuff, but they send out a lot less than they used to as well. Mailing out checks, we are continuing to try to get people EFT for accounts payable as well.
Of course, there'll be a cost if you do it electronically also, so I guess you have to,
There's some cost, certainly
yeah.
less for sure.
I don't know, I think maybe not now, but maybe next year in budget, something can look up.
Yeah, exactly, but I kind of think when you get that budget package and all of that other additional fillers are in there. Councilor Inglis?
I'm gonna have to disagree with you, Roy.
This is not real.
Getting-
Sounding
getting-
be a
getting your
major
bill-
discussion.
Getting your bill electronically from a business is one thing. That's a very different animal to get your tax bill from the township for the house you live in. And there are a lot of people in this community who are not comfortable using an iPhone or a computer still.
Okay. I don't want this, I don't want this to get out of hand. Okay, in favor of the resolution? Resolution's carried. So, external, committees? Housing Advisory Task Force.
Moved by Counselor Inglis, seconded by Deputy Mayor Hutto. Be it resolved, the council receives for information the notes dated December 10th, 2025, of the Housing Advisory Task Force, and that council approves the 2025-2026 HATF work plan.
Comments?
Who was the presenter from Rural Department Services? Municipal Services? No, at your meeting.
Justin.
Oh,
Justin Brownberg.
Is it
Yeah.
possible in these meetings, in these minutes, that you can put the presentation in?
We could. I had him tone that down to just stay away from the Nutera technology. He actually did quite a good job. Brooke?
The presentations are included in the agenda. So these are, you could attach them again in the notes.
Was his presentation? Yeah, it was. So-
Yeah, so
Here,
they're all in the
make-
agenda package, similar to council.
No, but I understand that, but I don't look at the agenda package. I look at the minutes when I review this, right? I don't necessarily look at every task force agenda.
We can do that. What was interesting, though, it was like, I mentioned this the last time, we actually said, if we're talking about affordable housing in North Frontenac, we're starting here. And this is how we're getting this, this is how we're getting that. So we've established a basically, for under affordable terms, a maximum amount that someone with affordability issues would pay in rent and would buy a house for. And then below that, but everybody's economic wherewithal is different. And then below that, everything would follow. Prevent someone coming in here and saying we want 1,000 square foot house and that's affordable. We actually looked at plastic houses. And what's really interesting is that Renfrew County is looking at, so we're following that over closely. We're about to follow that. Councilor Fowler.
I see in the report that you had a presentation from JP Melville regarding the Applefield House Society.
Yeah, it
Lakeville,
was very general because, yeah, we did. And they're coming back to do a more detailed report in a couple meetings.
that was one of my interests in the past.
Yep, I remember that. Okay. Anyone else? Councilor Ingles?
I recall at our recent meeting earlier this week, there were a couple of members of the public who came and there was some protest, there was some objection to some of our definitions. Is this an important place to discuss that or not?
No, other than I think that, you have to start somewhere. That was only the third meeting we had. That was the first real meeting we had of the task force. So you have to start somewhere. And we had a presentation at council and the individual came and, it wasn't something that maybe we would accept, but it was well reasoned and there were potential solutions and so on included, but the size of the house was up here. Well, we're saying, okay, no, based on what the information we have, it's down here. And it depends on the figures that you actually start with, where you get them from. And we recognize that everybody has a different economic ability to buy a house, rent a house, live here. So, and we can't cover it all, but we can cover it in generalities. And if you want to focus right down here, then you're close to homelessness. But we have to look at that, plus we have to look at everything. So we say, this is the upper level, and we'll then work from there down. It's going to take time to get through. John?
It's just interesting to me that we have the three task forces. They're all tasked with doing something. They have a mandate. And in each case, they come up with some kind of program, and there's always going to be and has been objection from some of the public. The environmental task force came up with some ideas. People get mad at this and that. The economic development task force started this housing idea. That created a furor, as we remember. And this will continue. I just wonder, is there a venue at council? Maybe it's not appropriate to discuss community concerns with some of the mandate items that we come up with, because it'll keep happening.
I think you call that democracy. And that's why we have a task force set up to discuss that exactly. So when a task force brings a program forward, and in the case of the housing task force, we've been tasked with learning anything and everything about affordable housing, and we're trying to actually do that. And the knowledge span is so great You can't accept or pick up everything all at once. And then you kind of move forward with what you've got and you say, okay, this is reasonable, this is not. Maybe we can put something together for council, maybe we can't. So this last meeting was really good. The next one should be even better and so on. But wherever you go, I get to see public, there's always somebody and they have the reasons for it. So it is what it is. Okay, in favor? Carried. Item 11B, Economic Development Task Force.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Hudol, seconded by Councillor Inglis. Be it resolved that council receives for information the notes dated December 15th, 2025 of the Economic Development Task Force, and the council approves the EDTF updated terms of reference, and the council approves the EDTF not advertising to fill the vacant position on the EDTF at this time.
Comments? In favor? Carried. Environmental Task Force.
Moved by Councillor Inglis, seconded by Councillor Hudol. Be it resolved that council receives for information the notes dated December 23rd, 2025 of the Environmental Task Force.
Comments? This is the one that had the photovoltaic systems on the roof, right? There was.
It's in discussion, yeah.
The Hydro One is doing, looking at it a different way of delivering on a program. I thought it rather interesting.
Yeah, so that topic is still being discussed. We haven't come forward with that.
Okay. In favor? Carried. Does anyone wish to give notice? Item 12. Councilor Hermer.
I request a notice or give a notice of motion, request the township review their policy on electronic meetings.
Which would be the procedure, electronic meetings as part of the procedural bylaw,
Right.
okay? You don't have to approve that, you can do it. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm gonna wait till, replace the resolution.
Read the motion, Councillor Firmer. Be it resolved that Councillor Firmer submits a notice of motion to discuss the procedural policy, specifically section 6.6, electronic participation in open meetings at the February 6th, 2026 council meeting.
I have a seconder for this res. Councilor Power. Which one wants more?
Moved by Councillor Hermer, seconded by Councillor Fowler. Be it resolved that Councillor Hermer submits a notice of motion to discuss the procedural policy, specifically section 6.6, electronic participation in open meetings at the February 6th, 2026 council meeting.
In favor? Sorry, Councilor Herman,
Should that not also include closed meetings?
closed meetings are not allowed electronically. That's already in the procedural bylaw.
And then Councilor Herman wants to review that. So is that what you're asking? Are you asking to review that portion of the bylaw also?
Or you want both? Okay,
Yes.
all right. And we'll change it and read it again. I'm gonna pick that because I thought everybody had, you know, maybe that's strong. Let's see. Councilor Fowler, are you okay with that change? Okay, once more.
Be it resolved that Councillor Harmer submits a notice of motion to discuss the procedural policy, specifically section 6.6, electronic participation in open and closed meetings at the February 6th, 2026 council meeting.
Any final comments? In favor? That motion is carried. Is there any others? Seeing none. Motions written notice which has been given by a member of council and approved by council at a prior meeting. Amendment to official plan and zoning bylaw, rural cooperative designation on waterfront properties.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Hudel, seconded by Councillor Inglis. Whereas at the meeting held December 12th, 2025, council received a notice of motion from Deputy Mayor Hudel regarding amending the township's official plan and zoning bylaw to discourage rural cooperatives on waterfront properties to be considered at the January 16th, 2026 meeting. Now therefore be it resolved, the council instructs the clerk planning manager to review options to amend the township's official plan and zoning bylaw to discourage rural cooperatives on waterfront properties and report back to council.
Comments? Councilor Fowler and Councilor Inglis.
I'm looking at the resolution that was attached to this. And it says moved by Councilor Roy Doodle, seconded by Deputy Mayor John Ingles. Is that correct? That for that date?
No, was not. That transfer of power took place at the December meeting, no, November meeting, right? Hang on.
I think that's just an error in my compass. We can just go in and fix that.
Yeah, good point.
Yes,
Yes,
that it needs to be corrected.
right, the transition of power took place in November.
So the original resolution would have just said, it had one signature and John's signature on it. This is just the electronic copy that we pulled from that template. I think there's just my template that's done that.
Councilor Inglis?
I was just gonna ask about process. What does explore options actually mean? I would hope it would include the possibility of an extensive discussion about why or why not this is a good idea.
Sure.
So I think, yeah, anytime we're looking at change policies, there's always the opportunity to council to have these discussions. I think the intent of this is for us as the planning staff to look at the policies and work with the planners to bring back appropriate wording in both of these documents. And again, because the planning documents, there's also the process to amend these, right? The public meetings that have to take place. The approval at this level, then it goes to county. So I think it's just a planning overall process and providing appropriate community. We'll just need some time to work with the planners to get that. And again, there'll be recommendations, not.
To me, the really interesting part is the policy, why, the question of why. The rest is important, of course, but it's, in my mind, annex. Not good. It's just a predetermined process. The part I'm interested in is, I have a lot of thoughts about this issue, and I kind of agree and kind of don't agree. I just want that all to be available to be discussed.
No, I agree with Councilor Inglis. Of course, we're gonna discuss it in council meeting, and we would have public consultation also, right? This would be, because of official plan, we would have public input also. So just as any council meeting, we would debate it.
Okay, any final comments? In favor? Carried. Okay, that takes us to item 14, counselor portfolio verbal reports. Okay, so Mayor goes first. Hasn't been that busy. We had a county council meeting after our last meeting here. And we were told that Fairmont Home had received a CARC accreditation. That is one of the highest awards or designations you can get. And there aren't many homes in Ontario. It means that mission to be given by the Commission on Accreditation of Rehabilitation Facilities, right, independent assessment, and it's based on international quality standards. You can actually find on the net which long-term care homes have this issue, or have this accreditation. And it's really a feather in their cap. County Council decided to keep supporting the Neighbor Saving Neighbor program. We joined the Eastern Ontario Physician Recruitment Alliance, EOPRA. The Planning and Advisory Committee, which we approved in minutes, recommended 3 memo of understanding with Frontenac ATV Club and the EOTA over the various trails, which in case of North Frontenac is primarily, it actually is only the KMP Trail. Open Farms, which the county has ran or operated for the last 2 years. We believe they have achieved their goals and have suspended that from the, won't be doing that again. I was at the open house for that, and it was quite the event, but you know, they've done that for 2 years, so they figured they've reached who they can reach. The Canada Community Building Fund, which is the old gas tax fund, was discussed, and they had a total of $959,414.93 to distribute, and we got $149,669.76. That was 2025's figure. The Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus. I'm just going to reach for a document here, if I can find it. I attended the inaugural meeting in January, which is the last meeting for the previous warden. So that I'm now no longer a warden. I'm a past warden. And the new warden for Frontenac County was basically helping to the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus, and that's Bill Saunders out of Frontenac Islands. I like Bill. I think he's a real good and he'll help us do things. I just wanted to kind of go through the recommendations. This is EOWC's 2026 budget recommendations. So these are some of the things that we're going to talk about at the Roma Conference with the ministers. Essentially, all orders of government to work in partnership. That's all 3 levels. They want rural and small urban municipalities to receive tailored support necessary to deliver on mutual goals. They want the Ontario government to continue to invest in trade and transport enabling ports across Eastern Ontario to strengthen the highway H2O. We have 2 ocean-going ports, one in Johnstown and one in Pacific County. We want to establish a regulated paramedic college. At the EOWC meeting last week, there was an individual there talking about the various paramedic associations. And we think a paramedic's a paramedic, but there's all kinds of issues of organization behind the scenes that we're trying to work on to make it more uniform. And they also want to expand the number of paramedics because it's going to increase. And paramedics are going to end up with a higher list of higher level of qualification. We want to ensure that OPP services remain affordable, transparent, and sustainable. Sorry, I can't help but laugh at that one. We got a letter saying no one can touch what they're telling you it's going to cost. They want to include more rural and small urban communities as part of the Building Faster Fund. And they want to solve the crisis across communities of all sizes and address homelessness. There was some talk about asset management. And as asset management goes, every municipality is in serious trouble. You know, if we look at our asset management plan, and we got the plan, it said we need $4.6 million. That brought everything up to, every year, so that brought everything up to a perfect standard. So we're at 2.1, and we're working on building that up, so we're somewhere in the center. So that's good, I think we're doing it right. But, there are some municipalities that are, I don't think they have it here, folks. Yeah, this is their, that's their brochure for Roma. So, that discussion is ongoing as well. A lot of municipalities operate on the basis of borrowed funds. You've heard me say before, borrow money, that takes away action. And I did talk to the, either the CAO or the, new mayor for Northumberland County. And they just built a long-term care facility, $147 million. And I asked him what was going, he said, great, but they had to borrow money to pay for their share. And that is causing issues with other funds. Because it takes away from their ability to borrow money. So that is what it is, something to keep in mind. Answering this.
Jerry, can I just ask, you reported on an award given to Paramount Home. And yet we keep hearing that an option is to tear down Paramount Home. Something bigger. You sort of understand why county council is considering destroying what's there. I mean, it's a beautiful home. I've been in a number of long-term care homes, and it's architectural, it's quite lovely. It is aging, but why would county council be considered getting rid of an existing award-winning facility?
Well, because a bunch of new councilors voted to put that in the strategic plan, including this councilor. And then when it came to the county council, said, we're going to do this. No, I objected. So we passed a motion at my suggestion to have a condition added to that building. And it looks like that building has a lifespan outwards of about 40 years. Well, from 2 years ago. The reality is you're going to have to spend money to keep it there. But at some point in time, all of a sudden, things all start running together. You can always repair a building, but the repairs never seem to last as long. So when you start, 40 years, why are you doing it? You also need a very long timeline. And we sunk $1.5 million into Paramount Homes, $1.5 million right for the sewage system.
I think so, yeah.
$1.5 million to put a new terrace system in. That stuff is not cheap. So the only benefit, like you're looking upwards of $100 million for a 160-bed facility there. So no one's jumping the gun and doing it, but planning process has started or will start. Hey, Deputy Mayor Huda?
Yeah, and it's very hard to renovate a building like that when it's completely full. Right, so.
Original building is built in the 60s and it's been renovated. And then they put a 32-unit bedroom only wing on the building. And then they rehabilitated that old house by the Marriott. Landlocking, and there's also an apartment building there owned by the city of Kingston. That landlocks the existing Fairmont home. So you can't expand. So it'd be nice to tear down the old section, leave the 32 units, and replace that original section with a bigger building or a better building. The trouble is, these are very, very sensitive people that are in there. They have serious issues, more serious than they used to have, because of the way the programs work. Before you get to a long-term care facility, and where do you put them? And it's just that 32 units would be really nice to keep, and it would reduce the cost. And we looked at this, but the reality is the logistics are so difficult. It might be easier to just build an entire new unit, an entire new facility on that property.
Yes, and speaking of that, that would it be able to expand how many beds they can add to the newer building. And that was discussed at one of the meetings I was at several years.
Province, we're at 128 beds. Province wants us to, if we expand, they would encourage us to expand the number of beds. So whether or not we do that or not, 160, 196 kind of the area we're looking at. Councilor Hermit,
But if this property is, if the building is landlocked, how can they expand it, and make it any bigger?
they can't expand the existing building, but this is the county's property where the building is, and there's lots of land there to build a new facility. So that's the reason to say, well, we own the land. Right. There are water supply problems, the sewage system, there's a food issues, there's wetland, I mean, there's lots of land, but the adjacent properties create issues as well. So I don't know if I'll ever see it. But the province keeps changing the grant structure. The other thing is Kingston pays a good portion of cost of updating this. So the province pays something like 50%. And then Kingston pays a portion of whatever, so that, but we're still on the hook for $30 to $40 million, and maybe not that much, but that takes away that's the county's ability to purchase, one more bill. Right.
Well, I always had the understanding that when it come to buildings, the province supplied the buildings, like hospital, et cetera, when it comes to healthcare. But it's up to the municipalities then to supply the equipment.
Yes, the province of Ontario subsidizes the building of the facility. And I think they also, I'm not sure about this, they also subsidize some of the basic equipment. Like we're subsidizing 2 MRI installations here, one in Napanee and one in the fall. Province wasn't paying for that. So it's not an easy solution, and whatever it is, it's extremely expensive. And to get into a long-term care home, or to put one of your family members or loved ones in a home, I actually got the brochures. You pick 5 homes. These are my 5 choices. One that comes up, you're at the top of the list, you get 24 hours to decide yes or no. You say no, you'll go down the list. That's a $7 million. Now what do you do? If you choose one of the 5, that's your first choice. If it comes up with it, then you can move to your first one over. They'll actually do that. But you have 48 hours to move in after the draft. So it's when you're in this list, it's very, very, very critical. So anyway, you're gonna go to home. Fairmont is a good one. Fred?
The province actually mandates the county to have these homes and run them too.
Yeah, definitely. Because the one in Pine Meadow has the same requirements, they're just as much smaller. And there's 2 of them in Perth, and there's a number. All right, the new chair of VOWC is Bonnie Clark. She's the warden for Peterborough County. She's the past chair. She's just a dime. She's doing a great job. The vice chair changed from Steve Ferguson from Prince Edward to Nathan Townend. He is the warden of Livingston. Okay, I think we'll just okay, one more thing. Omer's, the province is proposing to change the way the owner's pension plan is governed. And the municipalities are objecting because it minimizes the potential influence municipalities have in governing that pension. So it's kind of a little strange. I don't think I understand it. That's what I should. That's something we have to stay tuned. Okay. Well,
So are you saying will be an extra cost to the municipality?
no, I'm just saying that they're changing the governing structure, and municipalities are going to play a much lesser role. That's the way it's being interpreted by the municipality. I don't know, just like maybe I should have said it like that. but
Okay, so more to come.
A lot more to come. And the issue of, joining conservation authorities, amalgamating with conservation authorities came up. And the EOWC turned down an opportunity to present some kind of, resolution like whatever we passed today. Because it's a done deal, everybody figures it's a done deal, they are going to join these conservation authorities together. But no one has any idea what it's gonna look like, and that's where the municipalities are gonna have a chance to make a difference. That was the word that was being discussed, or the information that's being discussed at this meeting. I don't know how true it is, but in your case, you know, that's what we see. Nothing from the Lake Association, nothing from the Civil Service Corporation. Wayne?
Nothing to report.
Council Regent's not with us. Deputy Mayor Hoodle.
So on Monday, we had our board meeting at the MVCA. Wasn't a very intensive board meeting, but we did have an update with the education program, and it's starting to actually be full cost recovery, which is a good thing. And one of the things they talked about was bringing schools out to their programs for a day or so. And they went through all the list of all the schools that are involved, and I noticed that our school hasn't been able to go there, and I know it's because of busing costs, but they do offer a subsidy for rural schools to go out there to their programs. So maybe we could look at that. Anyway, I'm not sure how much the subsidy is, but they do offer a subsidy for schools like our small community school that can't get out there. The MVCA was invited to a meeting on January 27th concerning the high-speed train project that is going to be starting. Corey, has North Frontenac been invited?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I think Brooke and I got an invitation to attend. Did you get an invitation as well?
Yeah,
Mayor Litchfield?
it's a 1 hour session, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
20.
1 hour, well, it's not what, it must be different
I
than.
can't, I
MVCA.
just can't remember the details. Brooke might have them right there.
It's in Ottawa,
No, this was a Zoom call.
so this is different.
Sorry, my mic wouldn't come on. Through you, Mr. Mayor. So we were invited, I think there's a couple different sessions going on. The one Corey and I were invited to is in Harrowsmith on March 26th. So it's a 3-hour in person.
So I went back to them and asked if it's something they'd be sending to all of council, and they said, no, not at this time. This is more for municipal staff for this one, but there'll be upcoming opportunities for council as well.
Do you know if any other our neighboring municipalities are invited?
I'm not sure.
Councilor Fowler?
So I was at our EOTA meeting yesterday, and I received information from one of the counselors at the Township of Madoc offices and their recreational center, Tuesday, March 24th, 2026, 2 sessions on a high-speed rail at 2 p.m. and at 5 p.m. and anybody can attend.
Yeah, there's public consultations already being scheduled. The one I'm going to is in Perth in March. That was sent out to everybody.
It's someone, I thought I heard someone say that they're going to lay out the approximate route by the end of January.
That's what was posted on their site in December, that by the end of January, I don't know if that's still going to happen, but they were going, I don't know if it's a couple proposed routes or the proposed routes. The reason for MVCA being invited was to go through environmental assessments and stuff like that. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to go through North Frontenac. MVCA is much larger than North Frontenac, but it always worries me. So.
Well, I've been to 3 presentations on Alto, and every time we're told we have no idea where it's going, but there's still discussions about where it could go, and every time there's a different route. So don't know.
They know exactly where they're going, which is how they make it public.
Well, I believe that when we had the presentation here, he indicated that the determination would be made in January.
Okay. He also gave us the impression it might go south. Because there's less granite to deal with. Then the next time you go with your presentation, and it might come north because there's less people and, less things to worry about. And that's true. Could be all smoke. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah. Corey?
So yeah, I do have one, and I think we put it on our social media as well. So March 4th is in Perth, 11 to 3 and 5 to 9. So there's those ones. Madoc, March 5th, Sterling, March 25th. We encourage you, members of council, municipal staff, and residents in your community to attend and learn more directly from project representatives. So we put that on our, I'm sure I asked you to put it on social media, and I'm sure you told me. So
So I take that as good news that they're not having public consultation in North Frontenac. But we'll see.
They're invited to, North Frontenac residents are invited to attend, and we've put that in.
Okay, okay, Counselor Hermer,
Nothing to report.
Counselor Fowler,
Okay, I attended the EOTA meeting yesterday. There's some discussion concerning the fees for North Frontenac. Also, there are going to be 3 of us attending the Roma conference. There's a presentation, I have a copy of it here, that Cindy Kelso of Central Frontenac and Nikki Gowdy of Central Frontenac will be doing the presentation in front of Minister Clark, and that's regarding the one pass system that we've all been hoping that would come into being. And seniors and law enforcement together, we have a presentation at Plevna on January 22nd at 11 a.m. and the topic will be frauds and scams. Also, there will be a presentation at OMPA, and it's going to be attached to the Community Cafe on March 4th at 11 a.m. And the topic will be wills and powers of attorney. And going on to the Ontario Provincial Police Board, our next meeting will be January 19 at 10 a.m. That's all I have.
Counselor Ingles.
Nothing.
Okay. That takes us to the introduction and reading of bylaws.
Moved by Counselor Inglis, seconded by Deputy Mayor Hudo. Be it resolved that leave be given to the mover to introduce the following bylaws that have been circulated to all members of council. 2026-01, the authorized borrowing to meet current expenditures. 2026-02, to adopt fees and charges bylaw. 2026-03, to close, stop up, and sell shore road allowance. 2026-04, to sign lease rental agreement with First Management Resource Group Incorporated. 2026-05, to adopt Rink Board advertising policy. 2026-06, to adopt final tax rate, and that these bylaws be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed.
Comments? In favor? Carried. That takes us to item 16, the public forum. Does anybody in the council chamber wish to voice an opinion? Okay. But you have to come up to the mic, please. And turn on to some.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for allowing me an opportunity to speak. I just had some points of view, and I'm just wondering if it's okay if I address them based on the subcommittee meetings, because the minutes were approved. No. Yep, okay, thank you. So, one of the things that I wanted to point out was, Corey had mentioned this morning that, there was a posting done on social media, for the announcement that was made. Not everyone goes by social media. I don't subscribe to those platforms, just as an aside. So anything that's kind of posted on the website, automatically pick up because I think that that's the face and what's front there. One of the things that I thought might be good was to put an announcement up about the Hydro One rebate. So I just kind of wanted to put that out there. The other thing that I wanted to speak about was the art mural project that's coming up for 2026. I think it was mentioned during that meeting that you might be running out of township space to put the murals up. So some of those murals will actually be retired. And I know that some have already been retired anyway. I'm just thinking that a silent auction might be a good idea. You could ask the artist that actually produced the picture if they wanted to sell those. Being an art collector myself, I think that $250 might be a good starting point for the silent auction on each one of those because it would be a recoup of the costs. And I know that there are a lot of activities that could be added to the community based on the additional funds. Any funds that are kind of received based on the silent auction might be split. One that goes to the township and the other half would go to one of the community services that are being organized. Another point was during the environmental committee meeting, I think that there was a discussion about invasive species and especially the Eurasian water milfoil. Milfoil? Yeah. So I know that there was a discussion, how do you really kind of make people understand? I looked at the postings that were placed at Malcolm Lake recently. And most of the time we usually go by bulletins or whatever. I think that art is probably one of the best ways to reach the public because it draws their attention. One of the things that I was thinking was that you could commission a piece for using resin to encapsulate the milfoil itself. So it would be better identifiable than just a kind of two-dimensional picture. I know that there was an artist at one of the Third and Miller places. I spoke with Betty Hunter about it. She thinks that her name was Lancaster, but I'm not quite sure. I think that that might be considered for the commission. The other thing is that the business profiles that are discussed during meetings. I know that's, you know, what do you call, one of the questions by a counselor was, what do you do when they've actually kind of opened up this discussion about the business profile? One of the things that I suggest is that you actually ask the person who's providing the business profile to actually fill in the form that's available on the website. I know myself that just moving here full time, recently I ran into an ice patch in Titchburg and went down into a 20-foot ditch in the middle of the night. That was in November 11th when we had that really bad snow ice storm. And there was quite a number of collisions. Fortunately, I knew of the HVAC owner in Titchburg, Tom Bealey. His father was actually an automobile mechanic before he passed, and thought to call him, and he recommended Ward's Towing. So I think that, you know, emergency services that are kind of promoted in the area would be good, or even the surrounding communities, so that people can kind of reach out and know how to detect, you know, identify with them or get in touch with them. So those were just kind of points of view that I had.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone online, Kelly?
Yeah, we do have Donald Morton. Just 1 second. Okay, should be able to go ahead, Donald.
Morning, Mr. Morton.
Morning. Sorry I couldn't make it down this morning. I'm feeling a little sick. I don't want to get you guys sick. I think I picked something up. I have a bunch of questions for you guys. Um, I'll break it into two sections. And just cut me off if you want to check and see if anybody else wants to speak. Um, so the first set of questions here, um, first of all, can you guys hear me okay? I want everybody to hear me.
Going.
Okay, so the first set of questions here, I'm asking for yes or no answers because this vote is now in the minutes. It's a package endorsement. If council cannot answer, that's the point that residents need to hear. I'm here speaking as press only today, not as a resident, for concern for the township. Number one, for the record, by show of hands, who read the South Frontenac motion text that came with this request for voting?
Donald, I'm going to stop you right there. That question's a little unfair. It's assumed that every counselor read that and understood it. And voted.
That's an answer in itself, Barry.
So I'm going to
Second
ask-
question, yes or no? Did council notice the South Frontenac text says the issues, in quote, are not distinct proposals and are, quote, three prongs of a coordinated strategy?
Once again, Mr. Morton, you're asking questions of each counselor. As a group, council voted to accept that particular document as presented.
Okay, that answers my third question. Yes or no, does North Frontenac endorse that coordinated strategy framing as written?
They did, or we did as a council this morning.
Okay, yes or no, does this vote endorse South Frontenac's objection to strong mayor powers?
That wasn't discussed. It was. You could read that resolution. I don't want to get in an argument with you here or a general discussion.
I'm just asking questions here.
That resolution, I know you have a post this morning on Patreon about this. You can look at that post as either 3 individual items or as a larger item about government overreach. And we took it as government overreach. So we'll leave it at that. So there was actually only one item that we were discussing, and that was the bigger picture item. Each municipality makes their own decision about strong mayors. And the strong mayor, from what I know, at the South Frontenac Township is very similar to the way we do business here as Central does as well.
Okay, that's all I needed for that section. The next section, I'm anticipating the same reaction. This is actually directed towards, through you, Mr. Mayor, Councillor Inglis. Yes or no, through you, Mr. Mayor, do you support the creation of the Housing Advisory Task Force as its own separate body?
Mr. Morton, that's a really unfair question. Council established the Housing Advisory Task Force last summer. And we're moving forward as it is, and it's going to get stronger. We've only had 3 meetings, and the third meeting was only, what, 3 days ago? So I'm going to stop that question right there.
Okay, no problem. So the reason I'm asking this is because Councillor Inglis has repeatedly raised the removal of the housing subsection from the Economic Development Task Force, including just this Wednesday and today. I'm asking for direct answers on the record because his comments keep framing this as something that did not actually happen. And I agree with you, Mr. Mayor. It did happen last year. I was there. And he sits on the table. So I'll ask one final question. Actually, no, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have anything else, Mr. Morton?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you for participating today. Is there anyone else?
If there's anyone else that would like to make a comment, please use the raise hand feature. Seeing none.
Thank you, everyone, for participating. We're going to item 17, closed session.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Udall, seconded by Councillor Inglis. Be it resolved that council retires to closed session at 10:31 a.m. to adopt minutes of a closed meeting held December 12th, 2025. Discuss litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, specifically an Ontario Land Tribunal file, and discuss personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees.
Any comments? In favor? Closed. We're going to take a break until, welcome back, everyone. The Council of North Frontenac Township has risen from their closed session where they adopted minutes of the closed meeting held December the 12th, 2025, discussed litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, specifically an Ontario Land Tribunal file, and discuss personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. Affirmatory ballot.
Moved by Councillor Inglis, seconded by Deputy Mayor Udall. Be it resolved that bylaw 2026-07, being a bylaw to confirm all actions and proceedings of council for its regular meeting held January 16th, 2026, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed.
Comments? In favor? Carry. The adjournment resolution.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Udall, seconded by Councillor Inglis. Be it resolved that council adjourns the meeting at 12:07 p.m. until February 6th, 2026, or at the call of the chair.
In favor? Our meeting's adjourned.